Hi, I'm Joe. Welcome back. This is the ultimate love letter. Thank you for joining the conversation. Healing past trauma is what we need to get into today. And I want to dedicate this episode to a beautiful YouTube subscriber and comment that I received, Vilma, on how we are able to heal the past and allow something new to press upon our subconscious. You know, in her comment, she mentioned that something I had said made it seem so easy, that we're just able to turn our attention inwards and reflect back something profound and something healed on the outside. And she was absolutely correct. It is not that easy, although it becomes easy once we do the work to heal the past trauma. And I must say, we actually make it very difficult. We make it so much harder than it needs to be. When we talk about our past trauma, and we're going to get into how to heal it, we're going to get clear. But let's speak about for a moment, when we're talking about our past trauma, most people will say, oh, but you don't understand. I have all these wounds and it's just not that easy to kind of step out of them. But let me ask you, what work are you doing to actually step out of it, to heal it? We are not to be a victim of our past trauma. Our trauma happened. It happened, whatever that trauma is. And it happened because those that perhaps imprinted the trauma on us, those were the same trauma wounds that were printed upon them, and they didn't heal their shit. And so they passed it on to us. And now we're seated in the opportune moment to decide either we heal it and we no longer pass it out, we pass out something else, which is health and love, or we don't heal it and we do nothing about it and we continue to have the cycle repeat over and over. We put it on our children. Then our children, if they decide they don't want to heal it, they put it on their children. And it just goes on for generations. Who's going to be the one to say, it stops here? I'm going to heal this shit so I don't spew this out onto anyone else. I'll tell you who. I know I did. But I'll tell you this, I didn't do it in time before I began to have children, because I have children now and I've spewed all my hurts and my pain on them, because I actually didn't begin the healing process until after they were like in adulthood. So I've missed the mark. I mean, now that I am continuing to heal, I'm now spreading this with my children, and my children now in their adult age, they are picking it up and they are learning a new pattern, but I certainly inflicted those wounds on them. Why? Because I didn't heal my shit. And my shit, yes, you can say it came from my parents' shit, but really my parents' shit came from their parents. So who's going to be the brave soul to say, I heal it here. The buck stops now. I want to remind you, before we get into how to heal it, you are not a victim unless you say you are. We often get so caught up in this narrative of, it's not so easy to heal it. You don't understand what happened to me. God damn it, get over it. Yes, you had some shit happen to you. Yes, perhaps you were abused as a child. I know I was. But I can either decide I'm going to continue to blame the people who abused me And then I will just forever go through my life as a victim, where life just beats the hell out of victims. Or I can step into my power, which is the victor, and say, I'm going to heal this shit because no one has power over me. Because this situation that happened, even though it was hard to overcome and I had to go through some shit to heal it, I refuse to allow what some unhealed person did to me to dictate what I'm going to be able to create in my life. Victims, when we talk about victims don't achieve a damn thing. If you're a victim, all you do is go around and complain. All you do is create more pain for the world. You don't accomplish anything. You don't achieve anything. You're mediocre. I'm going to just keep it real. All because you won't let the past go. Yeah, I know your mom sucked and she beat you. Yeah, I know that maintenance man did some inappropriate shit to you when you were 5. I'm speaking about myself because that was some shit that happened to me. But at some point, we're going to have to say, it is what it is. Whatever happened to me was more a reflection of the unhealed individual. And what I choose to do now with the pain has everything to do with me as the victim or the victor. I don't know about you, but I'm a fucking winner. And I'm going to win. And I'm not going to allow unhealed shit from the past to stop me from winning in the future. So how we do that, first and foremost, you got to accept that trauma was imprinted on you. You got to accept that you are no different from the 8 billion people on the face of the earth that have trauma imprinted on them. I get it. I hear you. I sympathize with you. It fucking sucked. It reeked. It shouldn't have happened to you. Get it all out. It shouldn't have happened to you. You didn't deserve this. They were wrong. Get it all out of your system, all the blaming. But then once you're done there, and I encourage you to wrap that shit up quick because we got work to do, then you go deep into, okay, now, what is this teaching me about myself? Where do I want to go? You go into feeling the pain. Quite simply, I mean, I can make an hour-long conversation on how you heal the trauma, but really we wrap it up with this. You heal it by feeling it. Period. I could drop the mic and turn off the mic quite literally. That's it. I know we're looking for a more profound way to do it, but all the therapy that you're going through, all the years of therapy, all the thousands that you send in therapy, and I'm an advocate for therapy, but your therapist can wrap it up by saying you feel it to heal it. Period. And how you heal it is this. You recognize, you know what? I was abused. I was mistreated as a child. You recognize who was the person who caused the problem. You recognize that, okay, if they were able to cause this pain, then that was because they had that pain inside of them. Something happened inside of them. And then you simply descend into the pain. You feel it. You let it come up. You cry about it. You scream about it. You wallow in it. You get present in it. You meditate in that painful space of what happened to you. And I don't mean meditate on it. I mean just meditate in it. Like just feel it deeply. Because as we feel it, the wound begins to heal. It's only rising because it wants acknowledgement. It wants you to get out the emotions that were attached to it. And understand this, emotion is just a fleeting thing. It's supposed to come and go. You're supposed to watch your emotions. You're supposed to be seated in the seat of your soul and watch your emotions as they pass you by. You're not to jump into the emotions and wrestle with them and try to suppress them and try to fix them. You just watch them. Oh shit, I'm feeling agony right here. Oh my God, I'm feeling heartbreak. Oh my God, I'm feeling sorrow for this. You watch it as the observer. And as you watch it as the observer, it actually releases the hold. ask God about this when we get to heaven. I don't know why it is the way it is, but that's just what it is. It releases the hold on you when you simply descend into the pain. It doesn't mean you stay there. Many people are grieving now, lost loved ones, their trauma, but then year over year, they're grieving it. That's not what I'm recommending. You go into it, you descend into it, you stay in the pain, you feel the pain, you look at the pain, you acknowledge the pain. And then after you do that, you should, if you're doing it correctly, you will begin to ascend out of it. You begin to feel lighter the next day, lighter after 3 days, even more lighter after a week, a month. But if you've gone, and I don't want to put a time frame on anybody's healing, but I'm just going to put it out there. If you have found that you are dragging on the same pain for several months, let alone several years, you are just not letting it go. Because, there's a saying, and I don't really agree with the saying that time heals all wounds. I don't believe that. What I believe is when you just feel the pain, when you're just feeling it and not suppressing it and not being attached to it, it will heal rather quickly. So this process should not take many years to overcome. If you find that's happening, you are just holding on to the pain. You're not willing to let it go. But when we go into the heartache, into the sorrow, and we're just acknowledging the wounds, the weapons that have been used against us, they will begin to release us because you're acknowledging it. You're giving it your attention, but you're not becoming attached to it. You're allowing it to come and go out of you, come to you, rise up out of you, and release in the background. Now it's in the past. And the more we sit with that, those wounds will begin to close up and they will begin to heal. I know that, or rather, for me, I remember there was one of the biggest wounds for me was matters of the heart. I wouldn't allow anyone to come close to my heart. I was totally blocked off. I was shielding. When I dived into what was the cause of that, and I began to uncover that it was rejection, fear of rejection that was at the heart of that. And how I uncovered that was, you got to go into meditation. If you don't know what's hurt you in the past, I know you may be pinpointing it one place or another, but once you dive into meditation and you get still and you quiet the mind, all the trauma that needs to be healed would be the first things that come up, because it's saying this needs to go. We need to once and for all let this go. So as those pains emerge, you'll be able to see who really wronged you, what those wounds were, and then you can simply just dive into them. Sit there with them. Don't numb it. Don't suppress it. And here's the thing. Most of us, and yes, I said most of us, because only the winners do the opposite. The victims, they do this. The victims will feel the emotion of, let's say, past heartache, but they don't want to feel it. As soon as they feel like, oh my God, my heart is hurting, I'm missing, this person, they'll just suppress it. They'll suppress it with picking up a drug or picking up an alcoholic beverage or calling somebody or getting up under somebody. You're just numbing it. You're not dealing with it. It's still there because all it wants to do is have you release it. It wants to come to the surface. It wants you to feel the shit so that you can get rid of the shit and you can move on with your life in a more healthier, balanced way. But we don't do that, do we? We numb it. When we're in in between relationships, what do? We end one relationship, we get under another relationship. We're going from there to there, and there's no space in feeling the heartache in between. That's an example of numbing the pain. If we were abused as a child, what do? We suppress it by not thinking about it, or we suppress it by just complaining about it. You're just constantly saying, my mama did this, my mama did that. And we're refusing to actually just sit with it like, shit, my mama did do that. That shit hurt. Let me let this come up. Let me look at it. Let me not look away. Let me not try to push it back down. Let it come up so it can get the hell out of my life and I can go on to be the victor that I'm meant to be. When we suppress it, when we push it down, we don't want to face it, when we just continue to distract ourselves from it, then we just remain in the victim mindset. I actually put a convo about that too, victim versus victor. Healing our past wounds will require us to face them. And it's now, I can say this in all confidence, but it's not as easy as I might suggest. But when I say this, the emotions that come really can't hurt you. Yeah, they hurt emotional. And I know emotional pain can be very, hurtful. But really, no one's going to perish over it. Really, the emotional pain is only coming to say, you got to let this thing go so you can be healthier, so that you can press something new upon your subconscious. So really, what are we afraid to look at? Are we just so afraid to be in our own space, dealing with this shit, looking at it, facing it, feeling it completely without numbing it? Like if you knew that it was possible to go on and create better aligned relationships, healed friendships, more money, better opportunity, a grander, most beautiful life, and all it took for you to do is to sit in your home by yourself and allow all the gunk that you have buried deep within you to rise to the surface and face it for 24 hours, 72 hours. And then after you do that, you release it, you let it go, and then you can go on to a ground life. Would you do it? Yeah, I know most of us now are saying we would do it, but guess what? That is exactly what it takes. But the truth is, most of us are not willing to do it. As soon as that pain begins to rise up when we're by ourselves, what do? We pick up the phone. We got to call a girlfriend and gossip about it. Or what do? We say, fuck this, I'm going to scroll on Instagram. Or, fuck this, let me get a glass of wine. Let me take a shot. Fuck this, let me go and, put myself into some lower energy presence right now. I need to distract. What you're doing is you are distracting from what's healed that wants to come up. You are braver than that. You can face this. You can feel this so that you can once and for all let it go. The night, and I know I started this a few moments ago and then I went around it, but for me, it was matters of the heart was one of the biggest wounds that I had. I never allowed people to get close to me. And I know I must have spoke about this before, but I remember I had just decided I was learning how to face the wounds, how to heal the wounds, and how to face my fear of rejection. And I laid on this couch in my home for one night. And I just allowed everything, the pain of being rejected and the pain of what if this man that I'm seeing, takes on another woman. I just allow all this gunk to come out. And as this gunk was coming out, I'm not even kidding, I could quite literally almost feel like trash was just ascending out of me and upward. And as I was in that space of just feeling, I was crying, I was weeping, I could sense like God was hovering above me. And God was simply just holding the space. I'll never forget this as long as I live. God was like hovering, just holding the sacred space. And it was like he was saying, I'm here. I can't intervene, but I'm here. And what I know he was saying is, I can't intervene, meaning you're doing the work. You're feeling the pain. You're letting it out. And so I'm not to come down and intervene. You're doing exactly what you need to do. And I'll stay here with you in it. And I will be here with you as long as you need me to be, but keep doing what you're doing. Feel it to heal it. And here's why I say it does not take long, because I had a lot of gunk and I let a lot of it out that night. And even though that wasn't all of it, I mean, clearly I still feel remnants of it still coming up. It was a giant portion of it. And the next morning when I woke up, I just felt, oh my God, different. I felt lighter. I felt more open. I felt more confident. And when I went out in life that next day to like test the theory and no longer closing my heart off because I'm afraid of rejection, but I opened my heart up to the love that I deserved, no one came to reject me. That night was probably like 8 or 9 years ago. And as my witness, God knows, I'm telling the truth when I say this, over the last 8 years, not one person has come to reject me. I've only received love, because the rejection was an illusion. Like, really, even when we're being rejected, are we really being rejected? Like, God is redirecting things. When people come and close the door, that's because it's not your door. You weren't rejected. That was divine intervention. And so as I open my heart to the love that I know I'm deserving of, the love that I'm giving the world, then all of a sudden, yes, the love just began to rush in, because I was absolutely right. You are deserving of love. And so that's quite literally how you heal it. You feel it. What you do is I read this book, The Presence Process by Michael Brown, and it is a 10-week journey into rebirthing. And it's like you have to read 100 pages before you even dive into the 10 weeks practices that he gives you. But in the presence process, he actually takes you back every 7 years. And the reason he's doing this is because he's helping you identify with what is it in our past that created these triggers, these imprintings. What is it? And once you're able to recognize what it is, then we're able to say, yes, I remember. And he actually tells you, you will uncover things that you long forgot. He told no lies. I used to think, just because I'm going with the narrative of everybody, society, that my childhood wound started with my parents. But when I did the back work in the presence process, I realized my fear of rejection, that big wound that is taking me many years, to overcome, it actually stemmed from my brother. My brother, who was he wasn't trying to hurt me. He was actually trying to help. My brother was a womanizer. My brother would literally wake up in the morning with a woman, take her home in the afternoon, come back with another woman at lunchtime, spend a couple hours with her, take her home, and bring another woman that evening and spend the night with her. It was literally like 3 women a day. And I remember he was telling me, like, you are going to, like, no one is going to treat my sister like this. It's just me and my brother. I'm the little sister. And he was like, no one's going to treat my little sister like this. This is how men think. This is how men are. So you go and act accordingly. So even though he was trying to help, and I certainly felt like he was trying to help, he actually created a wound of rejection in me. I just felt like, these dudes aren't going to take advantage of me. As soon as, I dated someone and I started to feel something, I was out. Goodbye. I don't trust you. I'm out of here. And in the process, I hurt myself because I did care. I wanted to care, but I ran from it because I was afraid rejection would come. Also, I hurt them because, perhaps their intentions were genuine, but here I am because I'm so afraid of what's unhealed in me, right? This fear of rejection. I was unable to face it. So I just left it and I went on to the next. And that was just my life through, my adulthood. And in the presence process, I was able to uncover, ding, ding, ding. It wasn't my parents. It was my brother And when I look at it, he wasn't trying to really hurt me. He was trying to put me up on some game, but it caused a wound. So when we think about the wounds that we have in childhood, if we can look at it just like that, your parents, for the most part, I'm not going to blanket it, but for the most part, your parents weren't really trying to hurt you, or were they? Perhaps, they spanked you because that's how they were raised. They were spanked. Perhaps your parents didn't show you love because when you look at it and you ask them about it, their parents never told them they love them. So they're only giving you from the capacity that they've received. And then perhaps you can look at it with eyes of compassion, knowing, damn, you weren't really trying to hurt me, but that's just all you knew. That's all you could give. Now, perhaps that frees you up a little bit more to say, I forgive you, whatever. There was nothing to forgive, but I'm going to heal this wound. I'm going to face it today. And how you identify who did what in your life and what needs to be healed is you got to go into meditation. You got to create a space of stillness for you to be shown what's going on inside of you. Meditation is the perfect way to do that. 5 minutes every day. In the presence process, he actually demands, you spend 15 minutes meditating in the morning, then 15 minutes in the evening. And I did that. I'm going to say 5 minutes. 5 minutes in meditation in the morning. Just create a space of stillness so that these things that are going on within you can come to the surface. So then you can say, I gotcha. I know what the trigger is. I know what the wound is. Now you take that wound and you sit with it. Don't suppress it. Don't call nobody. Don't pick up the phone. Don't pick up a joint. Don't pick up an alcoholic beverage. Don't go out and try to remove your mind from it. Just be with it. And that's how you heal it. But I'm going to tell you, most of us aren't doing this. Most of us will just continue to say, but you don't understand what happened to me. Yeah, I may not know your whole story, but I get it. Some shit that you didn't deserve was put upon you, and now you have to heal it or not. What do you want to do? Do you want to heal it? Because when you heal it, then you open up to the truth of life, what's really available to you in life. Now you're opened up from a healed perspective. You're able to see life clearly. You're able to see that even though, life seems pretty uncertain, pretty dark, pretty scary right now, but from a seat of a healed subconscious, you really rise above it. You see, actually, there's more beauty than there is despair. Actually, there's more kindness than there is hate. And you are only able to see that because you're looking through the lens of a healed soul. I know for most of us that are watching this who haven't done a lot of healing, this doesn't resonate with you. But if you sit for a moment, something deep inside of you is ringing true, because when we hear the truth, we know it. That's your soul saying, it's true. You can't see more of it because you refuse to sit with the junk that has caused you a hurtful imprinting. Do the work. Do the work so you can ascend. Do the work so you can bring the best in life to you. Don't go another day without sitting with the shit that was put on you that you didn't deserve. Because if we just continue to accept it, we're going to pass it on to our children. Our children will pass it on to their children if they don't accept it. End the cycle today. End the cycle right now. You can do it. You are a victim. You are made to be a victim. Another way to bring up, the imprinting and being shown what needs to be healed is prayer. Simply go into prayer. Affirm what's going on inside me. What do I need to heal inside me? The answers will come, but don't discount when the answers come. When the answers are shown to you, like, okay, you need to heal this, don't say, oh, but that's not it. No, that's it. You asked, and now you received. You asked what the problem was. The universe is showing you what the problem is. Now you take that problem, go sit on the couch and just sit there and just feel it for the next day. And then release it. Shake it off. That's how you heal trauma from the past. I mean, I can go on and on and on and on, but that's the gist. How you heal it is to feel it. Don't suppress it. Don't numb it. Don't distract it. Face your shit, and your shit will go away. Thank you so much for joining this convo. Thank you to Vilma, who inspired the convo with an excellent question. I never want to make light of the work, the dark work that we got to do. But the truth is, once we do the work, meaning just sit with it, look at it, face it, feel it, cry about it, scream about it, then we release it, we heal it, and now we ascend to a more beautiful, more grander, more prosperous level. So in essence, it is kind of easy, right? Like no one's asking you to climb Mount Rushmore. No one's asking you to go and bring 100 people with you and sacrifice souls to heal it. No, you just got to face it. You just got to be brave enough to just sit with it. That's it. It is actually that easy. It might be too easy for you to understand, but it is really that easy. If you don't believe me, try it yourself. And then let me know what you think in the comments. All right. Until next time, love yourself and love others. We'll chat again soon. Bye for now.